advice.
And who's your market that you want to speak in front of?
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that. Go ahead.
No, it seems like my path is sort of leading me into working with educators. I'm still figuring a lot of things out.
That's
I'll
good.
just be honest.
Okay, so I don't know if we're going to get anybody else. I was expecting Karr to come on, but I don't know if she's going to make it. So let me start by introducing our amazing presenter today. Ron is a CSP and served as the 2013-2014 president of the National Speakers Association. For the past 28 years, he has spoken on 6 continents in the areas of sales and leadership. He facilitates the highly successful Chief Revenue Officer Mastermind Group. Ron has authored 4 books, including his last, Lead, Sell, or Get Out of the Way, which was a CEO best-selling book. He has appeared on BBC, CBS, Morning Show, Fox News, Wall Street Business Report, ABC Radio Business, and published in over 250 publications. Please welcome the best man for the job for sales and marketing for us, Mr. Ron Karr.
Thank you. So, first of all, forgive me for sounding nasally. I'm battling a 9-day head cold that's keeping me down a little bit. I just started taking antibiotics, so if I'm coughing and sneezing a little bit, just bear with me, please. I did not want to cancel on you guys because I know you've been looking forward to this evening. So, I know you have a module on sales and marketing from the Academy, and we'll go through that loosely. And what I mean loosely is I didn't write the module. I think they have good topics, so we'll go for that. But I want this to be an interactive dialogue. I want to make sure you walk out of here with the questions you have. So feel free to interrupt. I'll go through this module somewhat, but I'll be putting my bent on it based on my experiences and also what I teach in sales. And then I'll try and apply it specifically to each of your environments to help take the theory and make it practical for you. So when you leave here, you can go out and use it. How's that sound?
Sounds
Great, thank you.
All right. All right, so on page 1 of the module is a great question. What are you selling? So let's just start with that. What are you selling? And then, because you can unmute yourself, keep it unmuted the whole time because we're going to keep this interactive. What are you guys selling?
Skill development.
Okay. What else?
Uplifting messages, training, coaching, consulting, and even books.
Okay, so when I look at that list, okay, I don't believe that's what we sell. All right, I think that's how we deliver what we're selling. That's it. All those things listed there are delivery. Well, not all those things. I mean, speeches, coaching, training, consulting, books, products, events. Those are all delivery vehicles. Okay? That's what I would call the how we do things. And if we lead with the how, that's when we get commoditized. If I say, you know, if you ask me what I'm doing and I say I'm a professional speaker or a motivational speaker, oh, well, everybody has a perception of what a motivational speaker is and how much they're willing to pay for that. And if they just hired a motivational speaker for $3,000 and your fee is $10,000, they're going to look at you as $3,000 and you're already commoditized. Now, let's talk about fees for a second. And NSA, we have a rule that we don't talk about how to set fees. And the reason is because antitrust, we're an organization of independent contractors. And if I sit there and tell you what to charge, then I'm basically setting the market up for collusion. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to charge. I'm talking about the concept of how to figure out for yourself how to charge. Is that fair?
Yes.
All right. So any numbers I use are not meant for you to take for yourself. Okay. The market will tell you what to charge based on how you position yourself And what you ask, if they pay for it, you know you got a good fee. If they're not paying for it, then now they got to position yourself better or lower your fee. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if you're going to sell based on the how as a speaker, consultant, whatever, that's going to be a lower level fee basis because it's a commodity. For me, I found that I need to position myself and sell by the what. The what is the outcome. And there's a couple of bullets on this list that deal with the what. Can you tell me what those bullets are?
Removal of pain events.
That could be one, yes.
Yeah.
What else?
I think skill development would also be a what. It
Yeah.
has to be more specific.
Yeah, skill development still, but what's the result of skill development? You got to get down.
Sure. And I think it's very broad, but results from your involvement in meeting their need is the key one. But like I think of it, I help companies achieve their long-term strategic goals. And those are twofold goals: growth, and number two is survival and thriving in a disruptive environment.
Great.
So that's how I kind of think about it.
So what I would say then, so your results and your what is helping companies grow and survive. Right? How do you say the survival one?
Well, basically thrive in a disruptive environment.
All right. So you help companies survive. It helps some companies grow and survive in disruptive environments. That's your result. Right?
Yeah.
Now, would you pay more for that than if you said, I am a trainer?
Yeah. Absolutely.
You see the difference?
Yeah.
Joy, you see the difference?
Yes.
Right? Would you pay more for that than if you say, I'm a speaker?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're going to pay for the outcome, right?
Right.
So when they talk about features and benefits, what I'm really asking you to do is what are the outcomes that you provide? So for Joy, you're still like trying to figure out your markets and who you go to. And even though you may not have been speaking per se yet, you still have outcomes that you have achieved in your life up to now. As a result of your writing, as a result of what you've done professionally, you have outcomes that you have achieved, right?
Yes.
So what are some of the outcomes you've achieved, Joy, from the writing you've done and what you want to speak about? What are some of the outcomes your readers and your markets have achieved so far?
Well, I've done workshops for college students and helping them to write strong admissions essays.
Okay, so hang on. So writing strong admissions essays is not the outcome. That's what they do. As a result of that, what happened to them?
They got into the schools they applied to.
Okay, so as a result of your work, you help students get into the dream college.
Yes.
All right, that's an outcome.
Mm-hmm.
What else have you done?
I've coached people who are looking for employment, job seekers, when writing cover letters and resumes.
So did you help people get in the door for interviews through the cover letters?
Yes.
Okay, so you help people get into you help people get through the crowded space of job interviews.
Yes.
You get the desired interviews through the letters, right? That's an outcome.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now, if you want to, let's say, penetrate the speaking market for educators, which is something you mentioned you might want to do, what outcomes have you achieved that might be relevant to them?
Well, my own experience as an educator, I've been in the industry for over a decade, and I've helped my students to become stronger writers. So now that you asked me that, I'm thinking that I could even narrow it down more to specifically language arts educators or reading and writing instructors.
That would be the segment you want to speak to?
Yes.
And why would they hire you? What would be the outcomes that you can help them become a better language art instructor?
Making lessons that are more relevant to the students, more comprehensive and engaging.
And engaging, good. And that will be a reason why an educator or a principal would bring you in, right?
Yes.
All right. So the first thing that I would have you do then is go through an exercise of writing down all the outcomes that you have achieved in your life and what people can expect. Because the more that you can articulate these outcomes in a very succinct and simple manner, that's what we have to hear you communicate to see, because the outcomes are meant for one thing. It's not to sell yourself. It's meant to get my attention, to say, tell me more, right? It's to get my attention and to say, tell me more. In sales, there's two parts to the sales process. There's the heart and there's the mind. The mind is the comparative part of the process where I compare you to everybody else. Do I need this? Do I not need this? The heart is the engaging part. It's the emotional context. That's where we make the connection. Too often we start the process where we go straight to the head. And that's when we do the how. I'm a professional speaker. Do you need a professional speaker? I'm comparing you. But if we don't engage in the heart first and we go straight here, there is no relationship and there's no reason we haven't positioned ourselves properly. But if we can engage the heart first, get the emotional engagement around things that are the end result, the outcomes that they really want, and they're really emotionally involved, and we get to attention to say, tell me more, then we start asking some questions and then we can get up to here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Kush, are you good with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So that's how I would do, what are you selling? We go to page 2, the question of who's buying. Who you sell to is a good question. Who are your buyers? So for you and Kush, you're selling to corporate America, right?
Yes. So mine is primarily the line of business managers.
Or HR.
No HR. Not so far. I find HR to be a little more. I think that's the market I have not been able to crack that well because it tries to commoditize me, whereas it's much easier to sell what you're saying with the line of business.
I don't like HR either, but people do, so I agree with you. Okay, good. Now, do you ever go to associations?
Not yet.
Okay, now there might be some associations that the line managers go to that you can speak in front of. See, I speak, I'll do some free speeches, like YPO, Young Presidents Organization. My market is, I speak for corporate America, big corporations, it's sales meetings and all that, but my market shifted in the last few years. I run a chief revenue officer mastermind group, and these CEOs of small to mid-sized companies, like $10 million and $200 million companies. And a lot of them started giving me 6-figure contracts to transform them. And so I was speaking in front of YPO, Young Presidents Organization. They won't pay me a lot of money, but there's all CEOs in the group. And I do that for marketing because it's my funnel to get new CEOs into the CRO and to get new CEOs into my funnel for future business. So there are associations that your line managers might belong to. So you may want to find out what associations they belong to. And if you can get in front of those association meetings, write articles for the magazines, blogs, get the line managers to know you, and then get in front of them with a speech. Sometimes your best marketing material is a great speech. And you give a speech there, you can get a lot of cards to follow up on. So associations may be a good thing for you in that area. Joy, same thing for you. You have if your market's going to be educators now. I'm not saying it should be the only market, but if that's what you're going after, you can go after the state teachers conventions. You know, and see if you can get some kind of educational breakout sessions there or something. Get yourself known. In addition to trying to get the various board of eds, you know, to get to know you and bring you in. For all these things, whatever groups you're after, you want to make sure that you can get in front of them in terms of blogs, newsletters, where they read you, see you in video, get exposure to. And what you have to find out is what are they dealing with today? What are their biggest issues? And how can you engage them with information? And don't worry about giving the shit away for free. Forget my cursing for a second. Don't worry about giving the stuff away for free. A lot of speakers and consultants I speak to, they're so afraid of giving the stuff away for free. And I'm going, what is wrong with you? You know, number one, there's a book called Free, Free. It's a great book. You can buy it. It starts off with a story of Jell-O. You know how Jell-O came about? In the late 1800s, Jell-O was the food of the rich person. It's a very hard material to make. You know, you had to grind it and coarse it, and it took the cooks and the maids of the well-off 3 days just to make that product, you know, before they can serve it. I forgot the name of the guy that was able to put it into a little box, you know, and make it, you know, for everybody. But when he figured out how to do it and he put it in all the general stores, no one knew what to do with it. And so he had it in the stores, but it wasn't selling. So he created a free cookbook on how to use it and all the different recipes. And with the cookbook, it started selling. And they kept publishing the cookbook. When it came out in 1900, and it was, you know, a few thousand copies each year, it kept growing the cookbook. And the cookbook was free even in the 1930s, 15,000 copies. He didn't care, even though it was for free, because it kept fueling the sale of Jell-O. You follow what I'm saying? So free is good. Even though you're giving it away for free, if they like it, they're still going to bring you in to speak. And remember, one thing they can't replace, even though they read it, the people that read it and think they got it and they don't need you anymore, the people that hear your video or see your video and think they don't need you anymore, those are not your customers anyway. All right? What they can't replace is execution. There's one thing about reading something and watching on video, but there's another thing on how to execute it. And that's why they need you in person. And to execute, they'll pay for that. So you're really interested in the people that want to execute. You follow me? So don't be afraid of giving it away for free, because you got to give people a sample of it, an experience. Remember, people buy experiences. So how can they experience it, get a taste of it, so they want to pony up the dollars and bring you in. And it gives you the credibility and so forth. And it shows that you're a subject matter expert. Both of you, are you just doing speaking, or do you have other services you want to sell to?
So I want to do speaking because I think that's a very good lead generation business. And number two, because I want to sell more books because of the speeches.
Okay, do you consulting?
Yeah. So I any consulting that I do eventually has to have an educational intervention, which means I stand up and facilitate a session. That's
okay, but you do consulting.
Yeah.
And you do coaching.
Coaching, I don't have a certification, but now my clients more and more, they basically want to get coached. So
you don't need a certification. Joy, do you just want to do speaking, or do you have other services?
I do have other services. I edit for the everyday person. I mean, most writers in the publishing world, they have editors to help them with their books and their blogs and all. but I'm working with just the lay writer, the person who wants to produce maybe a research paper or some sort of promotional material, and I just proofread it for them before they put it out. They publish.
Okay, but one of your strengths is being a writer, right?
Yes.
All right. So I don't know if you know the name Nito Cobain. He's a former president of NSA. He's president of High Point University. Got the foundation after him.
Yeah.
And he tutored quite a few of us when I first joined the NSA. And he talked about having, pretend that your business is a theme park. And in your theme park, you have different rides, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in my theme park, I have the speaking ride, I got the consulting ride, I got the coaching ride, I got assessment rides, and you can fill it in, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, which gate is the best gate for people to enter? For me, it's my speaking. When I speak, I always get business after that. The assessments fall in, the consulting, the coaching, and everything else. I never sell consulting unless someone hears me speak. I never sell the assessments unless they hear me speak. It all starts with the speaking. So my question is, what is your strongest gate into your theme park? Now for you, Joy, it might be writing. If that's what you're talking about, and you're a good writer, write the heck out of things and get it published in as many publications as you can and get people to read it and bring you in. And there are a lot of speakers that consider themselves not speakers, but writers. And they get published in as many places as possible, and that's why they get invited to speak, right? And push, I don't know what your main gate is that gets you in there, but, think it over. But go ahead.
Well, I think I get paid most of the time for facilitation and helping clients achieve these goals. You can call it consulting and coaching mixed together, but it's basically facilitation sessions.
So, and is that something that you get fairly easy?
So I think if I tell you that I don't do any marketing other than online stuff, and I get all the business through word of mouth and referrals.
So if you get that, then I would leverage the facilitation, and then through those contacts, say, hey, how about bringing me in to then spread this work even further and speak to your troops? Instead of, spending incredible amounts of energy trying to find a new audience, you've already built in credibility to these clients. And it's things that look, when you facilitate with some executives, right? Are there things that you can speak to the troops about in a speech? Yes or no?
Yeah.
To further increase the ROI of what you just did in that facilitation.
Can you tell more about it?
Well, you just did a session where you facilitated some disruptive behaviors for that company, right?
Mm-hmm.
With line managers, right?
Yes.
Can you follow up with a speech to their teams?
Sure, I can.
Or with a speech to the management team?
I can.
Would that be interesting to you?
It would be okay. So my goal is somewhat different. So my goal is to build scale. My struggle is right now that I'm not building scale, and scale means at the audience level. So if I keep going back to the same customers, you just need 3-4 clients to work 150% of your time.
All right. So what for those people, then let them refer you to other people they know that can bring you in to do a speech.
Okay.
At least leverage them for referrals.
Right. I can do that. And what's happening is most of my leads are coming from, I'm not even doing anything. Somebody will call me and say, hey, I'm somebody I know with a weak link would call up and say, hey, so-and-so is looking for some strategy work. I would want to connect you with them. And then I would just go sit down with them and say, here's what you need. But that's basically how it's all working. But
that's for the strategy work. I'm talking about leveraging the contacts in the strategy work for your speeches, because you want to build your speaking.
That's right. So now what I was telling you, Ron, is if I go after 4 people and I don't actively go and say, tell me who can I speak for? I just go spend time with them, add value, and they then refer to people within their organizations or someone else. And it would be even a social call will lead to something like this. I don't have a method of going after people for speaking.
Hang on a second. There's a couple of things we have to understand, okay? We get pigeonholed by our clients. And what I mean by that is, if I just did a riveting keynote in YPO, and I don't structure that keynote to give case studies that audience benefit.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't share some case studies that show that I can come off the platform and roll my sleeves up and take the company through a transformation, when something happens, they won't call me because they won't think I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, your customers are pigeonholing you as a strategist.
Mm-hmm.
They don't see you as a speaker.
You're right.
So the only way they're going to see that is if you speak to them about that.
Okay.
So my question is, can you have that conversation? They already bought into you. They already believe in you. They trust you. And say, look, I put these two programs together. Do you know where some audiences might be either in this organization or other people that might be interested in these talks?
There is merit to it, and I don't disagree. I somehow think that your association's idea is a far more promising idea because of the scale that I'm looking for. If I can be in front of, say, 5,000 people in a matter of 6 months' time, I will have more business to do and more products to sell online and offline than I can do it by going after the existing clients.
I'm not saying going after the existing clients. Those people may belong to associations they can introduce you to.
Sure. That's a pretty cool idea. Yeah. Client to association.
What I'm saying is you're leveraging your strong gate is the facilitation.
Right.
You just proven yourself. Leverage that to get you into other speaking opportunities.
Right. And I get invited for speaking. I don't get paid for it. So it'll be like some Switzerland consulate will have a bunch of people coming from Switzerland and say, can you come and talk to us? Or an IDC, which is a company, you probably heard of it, like Gartner. They would call me and say, hey, can you give me a keynote? But then that'll be a friend calling me and saying, can you come and talk to 250 CIOs in this country? Yeah, sure. I can come talk about my book with them.
But there's nothing, look, first of all, like I said, I give free speeches. There's some organizations, like I said, don't pay speakers. But if they have buyers in that organization, what do you care? If they like what you have to say, they can possibly bring you into the organizations.
Sure.
Either to speak, facilitate, or sell your online product.
Sure.
Here's the question you have to think about. When you accept those invitations, are you choreographing that speech to set you up for the next thing? Bill Eagles, who is from New Jersey, his wife Esther runs Eagles Talent, which is a Speakers Bureau. Bill is a CPAE Hall of Fame, good friend of mine. When I first joined the NSA in 1990, he took me out to a diner, and he taught me an important lesson. He goes, what most speakers make the mistake of is they look at every speaking event as the end-all, be-all. It should be the stepping stone to the next thing. And I look at every speaking opportunity as a stepping stone to my next event or my next. So how do you choreograph the speech? So it's powerful, has some case studies, but it sets you up for the next engagement. So if you're speaking to 250 CIOs in the audience, how can you set up an experience that will leave them gasping and saying, I need this guy to come in and speak to my team or facilitate, or we need this online program. So don't worry about it for free. If the people in the audience can buy you, they get worth their while.
Okay. That's something that I have not done, but that's a really great insight. I don't think about it as something that lead to something else.
It's got to be strategic. You got to be strategic. That's what I'm trying to teach both of you, how to be strategic in your process. Joy, what's coming up for you?
I'm thinking about, actually, I was taking a lot of notes based on what you had said when you were directing your comments at me previously. So I was just halfway tuned in.
Okay.
Hey, Joy, just an example. Are you familiar with the Chicken Soup for the Soul series?
Yes.
Okay, so I've heard Jack Canfield give presentations, and he said he wrote that book so he could become well-known author so that he could get speeches. So what Juan was talking about, get your material out there in different places and get known as a writer, that could lead you to plenty of presentations. Because you're a successful author and writer is a door opener for people who want to speak.
And that's your strong gate. And that's what you teach, but that's your strong gate for you. Is this helping you guys so far? Just want to take a pulse.
Immensely.
Quite helpful. Quite helpful.
Okay. Page 3, they talk about multiple markets. I have multiple markets. I mean, I don't have any niche market. I mean, I speak to any kind of industry because I believe that my message can be taken to any industry. There's some people that niche themselves in financial services or whatever. And Kush, I think you can go to any industry. Joy, you might be segmenting yourself in education, which is fine. But I think
Ron, excuse me. So getting started. So we were last week we were talking to Ann Cushion. Actually, Bill Cates was trying to get him to niche more.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I don't want. For him, should he start? Should he start with one industry just to get known, and then maybe branch out? Because you're telling him that don't worry about niching. We just got a kind of a conflicting message last time around.
This is where we experts can have difference of opinions. Okay, I know Bill niched himself with financial services, and Bill's a good friend of mine, and he's known as the referral king. I never did that. I wanted to brand myself as the expert in sales and leadership. Now it's impact, and I put myself out in front of CEOs, and I'm in different industries. I think any of those strategies will work. I think it's what works best for you.
Yeah.
One piece of advice that I always heard Shep Hyken give when he speaks to NSA audiences, who's a past president of NSA, a friend of mine, he'll always start his presentations and say, look, you're going to hear me give you my model. My model works for me, doesn't necessarily work for you. Take what you like out of it and use it for you. But the beauty about this business, we can do it any way we want. Take what works best for you. So I don't think there's any set way. For some people, it's to niche themselves in one particular industry and they feel better that way. For others, it's not. I'm not that disciplined a guy. I go wherever the air takes me.
So, Ron, I'm probably like you. Have spent around 10 years in banking and consumer goods, but my last client was from a plastics company. I've never worked in plastics, and the feedback I got was that we were surprised how quickly. No, they said we were surprised how much time you spent learning our business. I did not spend time learning their business.
I know.
That I did, but I learned very quickly. So
the biggest complaint that I got when I started learning, when I started going, was how much business do you have in medical device? I said, none. They said, well, I don't know if I can hire you. I said, why? I said, look, one of my biggest strengths is how fast I can acclimate myself to your business and get the results. You can call my previous clients. As I got to learn how to say that, I got the business. You're teaching how to survive competitive pressures and disrupt markets. It's the same process no matter what industry they're in.
Yes.
All you're listening for is what the key levers are, so that you can put your hooks onto that and help them through that.
Correct.
It's the same process to any industry. You just got to give them the comfort level that you know how to do that.
At the same time, because if I think about my expertise is in understanding and responding to failure of firms, that's the work that I've done. Why do firms fail and what to do to not to prevent that? When I go to a firm and my pitch is that actually the fact that I don't know your industry only is what works really well for you, because these lessons are from across the industries, and what you will learn from is what worked in watches and what worked in mutual funds and what worked in photography will also work for you.
I agree, because the biggest problem I think sometimes when you're niche too much is people want outside perspectives because they're already in a myopic point of view. But the bottom line is, look, both strategies work, Charles, and I think what you brought up was great. For me, I would just say it's personal preference.
But just to add to that, Charles, I think the other perspective is also good, because when I go to a financial services companies and then I tell them, look, fintech is going to be disrupting you, and I am a disruption expert, I connect their vertical with what I know horizontally. And that's how so I think it works both ways depending on who is out there that I'm talking to.
It's your ability to spin it.
And I think one of the reasons it came up last week is we were trying to help you focus, to pick a group to start with, just to get started and focused on, just to get you rolling.
I think the what I've learned so far between that and this is, if I go to the associations of the companies that I already work with, or associations where my current message is most valuable, and just give them free blogs or free articles, that may be a great stepping stone to getting to the first speech, and that may lead to, you know, all the goodies after that. That's what I'm putting these two together, and that's what I'm taking away.
Yeah, and like we talked about last week, you might be able to, with all those avenues of contact, you might be able to put together an e-course you could sell to them as well.
Yeah, I'm already working on it.
I would not limit yourself just to association either. You got to do several things concurrently.
Can you say that more, please, Ron?
Yeah, I never put all my eggs in one basket.
Okay.
In case it doesn't work, or in case it's not fast enough. So I think association is one lane you should go down on. I think another lane you should be going down is going to the line managers and saying, do you know any other audiences that can benefit from my work besides associations? They may know other companies that have meetings or something. They may know vendors that can use it. By the way, here's something, okay? The work that you did with them, they would love if their vendors would do the same work, because if their vendors can survive the disruptions, they're going to be better vendors to them. Think about that one.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, do they ever have meetings where they bring vendors together? You can even give them a novel idea to put a meeting together where they bring all the, how about this one? All right. How about you sit there and you say, do you like the strategy we did? Yes. How about, would it be really important for you to have all your vendors thinking the same way when it comes to disruptive markets? Yes. Why don't you put together a meeting and sponsor me to speak so that we can start bringing the same skill set to your vendors so they can become better vendors for you?
It would work in some cases more than others, but I can see the beauty of it, or to customers also. Why don't you do it for the customers?
Both.
Yes.
And let them sponsor you to their customers. It's
right.
A value add to their customers.
Right. That's a great idea.
And so you're giving them, they're building their business with their customers, they're paying you, and they're putting you a trusted resource in front of them, and you're getting speeches. This is called, write this word down, both of you, please. It's called leverage. How do you leverage your existing value in more ways? Think bigger, think outside the box. Stop trying to find new markets all the time and start from scratch. You got existing people that love you and believe in you. How can you keep leveraging and be smart in different areas?
In fact, one of the things that came out of the last strategy session I did is they need to go to a certain set of vendors and run seminars for them. I just didn't go a step further and saying, and I will be there for you.
And that won't be a hard sell.
It won't be, yes.
There you go.
Okay.
I earned my keep tonight. Joy, what's coming up for you?
I'm thinking, as far as the people who I help with their editing, like the everyday writers, I can offer them coaching. In addition to just the proofreading that I give them, I can offer them assistance in crafting their writing, and I can offer them a little a guidebook, so that they can refer to the strategies that I give them, even after I help them.
So who are these writers?
College students, administrative assistants, job seekers, self-published authors. I'm kind of running into them through referral.
Have you ever heard of a book shepherd?
Yes, I have.
That might be something for you to look at. If you could get yourself to authors conferences, even self-publishing authors conferences, and give a free speech, have a book in the back of the room, and offer your services.
And then the other thing is you can go to self-publishing houses and see if they'll sponsor you at those conferences and pay for you.
Mm.
Awesome. Okay.
And then be at their booths because they're looking to sign up authors. See, one way to get paid for speaking when conferences don't pay you is to get someone to sponsor you who wants to get new clients at those conferences.
Mm.
Right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But again, what's the outcome to a sponsor? Why would they sponsor you?
So that they can have more prolific writers, or
you gotta think deep now. Again, what's the outcome to a sponsor? Why would I sponsor you as a publishing house? What's in it for me?
well, you would have more skilled writers,
Which means what?
more revenue, more income.
The books will sell.
Yeah.
Good. What else?
The writers who are assisted through the services can refer other writers to the publishing house, which again.
Right. And the writers that hear you speak at the conference will likely come to their booths because they're appreciative of them putting the skill sets in your skill sets in their hands.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So the benefit to the sponsor is that by sponsoring me at this conference, I'll drive more traffic to your booth so you can sign up more authors.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give them more ideas on how to become a better writer. So if you sign them, they'll write better books. So you'll sell better books. That's the outcomes that you need to stress to sell a sponsorship. Remember, it's all about outcomes, right?
Yes.
It's the outcomes of the person who's signing the check. What are they going to benefit? What's in it for them?
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Page 4 is what do you say so that they buy? Again, it's just about the outcomes. That's what I would do. Questions. Do you hire professional speakers? I never asked that question. To me, it's the how. Questions I always ask when I ask people, if I'm trying to sell a speech to a conference, the first question I'm asking is, what's your strategic intent for the conference? What are the 3 things you want people walking away from this conference? What are the 3 goals for the conference? A big question that I always ask, what's your biggest fear when a conference is over? That always sets me up for selling some kind of a product. The biggest fear is, especially if it's a company, will they use the stuff that we give them? Because they're investing so much money. Many times I'll ask them how much they're spending on the conference. And then I'll position what I have based on what they told me. So why do we use 3? Because by the questions we ask, we dictate how far someone thinks. If I ask for one thing, they're only going to think of one. And if they give me an answer I can't handle, I got nowhere to go. If I ask for 3, they're going to think more, and I'm probably going to have something I can talk about, number 1. Number 2, you're asking about an enterprise question. I'm not asking about a speech, which is a lower level question. I want to ask what they're trying to achieve from that event. the bigger questions. And why is it important? And what's at stake? So what it gets down to is a psychological question. There's a psychological conversation we'll get into now. Remember I talked about the heart and the mind, right? So we have to engage them with the what, the outcomes, to get emotionally involved. If we now find out, they're interested in the outcome and say, look, I teach people how to survive disruptive behaviors in the industry. Great, how do you do that? Well, we do it by a number of ways. Before I get into that, I need to ask you a couple of questions, okay? Why do I do that? Because if I start telling them how I do it, there's no context with them yet. So whatever I tell them I can do, it's landing on deaf ears. There's no context. But if I ask them a question like, what are the 3 challenges you have in surviving your markets today? And let's say they come up with answers like, oh my God, we have consolidation with our customers, number 1. Number 2, we have price erosion. And number 3, there's lack of new technological advances. And we just can't break through the noise. Well, now you got 3 specific issues that you can address. So now you can start responding in English, for example, and saying, well, when it comes down to market consolidation, that's a big issue that a lot of my clients have. And the way that they survive that disruption is that we teach them the 3 principles of A, B, and C. Mm-hmm. Now, all of a sudden, I'm listening to you because you're presenting what you offer in context to what I just told you was really important to me. Mm-hmm. But if you don't get that out of me first and present without context, there's no value. So you got to find out what the biggest issues are for them for an event or what they're trying to achieve, what their fears are, and then present what you have, what the process that you're doing, not the speaking, not the consulting, but what you do in context to what they do. And when you get their attention, say, well, how do you do that? Well, we can do that in a variety of things. We can do it through a speech, we can do it through consulting, we can do it through our online program, we can do it through a mix. Well, together we'll figure it out.
Ron, I have a question for you on this one. So I can do that, what you're telling me, very well for a workshop,
yeah,
or a program, okay, where it's a very structured thing. I saw your website and you have, very impressive claims about helping clients achieve 30% growth and helping them achieve very specific outcomes. I can talk about those outcomes based on my prior engagements. How do you connect a speech to an outcome? Because there are a million things that go on between a speech and the outcome, including all the guys working. How do you think people buy it? So I've always been worried. I don't want to make the claim, which I can't even, back up.
Well, first of all, I'm not just a speaker.
Okay.
So one of those claims that you see on my website was a company called Zomed Surgical.
Okay.
John Trees.
Okay.
And when he called me up, I gave a free speech at a sales and marketing conference. It was a half hour after the show closed, the technological show closed. I only had 12 people in the room set up for 200. And I thought, man, this is a waste of my time. I have 3 regional managers happen to report to John in Jacksonville. So he called me up the following week. He said, 3 of my regional managers heard you speak, and I'm looking at a keynote speaker for my sales meeting. I said, okay. And I said, well, who am I competing with? And he goes, Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy, he was on my board of directors when I was president of NSA. I shared a story with him and he laughs. We're good friends. But when this was happening in the late 1990s, Brian had more books than I had years on this earth out there. He's a prolific writer. There's no way I was going to compete with Brian as a keynote speaker. So on the phone, I said to John, well, what are you trying to do with this meeting? Tell me about your biggest challenges as an ear, nose, and throat medical device company. He goes, we just came out with a new machine. It does 3 things for the surgeons. It lights, cuts, and irrigates. Problem is we can't sell it. I said, why not? He said, because our biggest competitor, Stryker, couldn't compete against us, so they give their version away for free forcing my people to give it away for free. I said, so how do you compete? He goes, I'm not consumables. I said, this sounds like a big issue. He goes, it is. So how much equipment do you have out there? He goes, $8 million. And I said, all right, well, this sounds like a really big issue. So I said, you know what? Since this is such a big issue, I'll volunteer my time to come down and meet with you for free and your team. You just pay my expenses. So I flew down to Jacksonville and he had his regional managers there. And the first question I asked him is, what is your strategic intent for the sales meeting? No one said a word. They were dumbfounded. That night, he confided in me. He goes, I was so embarrassed for me and my team. I said, why? He said, because you asked a question that no other speaker ever asked us. What is our strategic intent? Every year we put this meeting together just for the sake of putting a meeting together. You challenged us. And we couldn't answer that question. So as that meeting went on earlier in the day, they said, we need to bring that $8 million back. I said, is that all you need? He goes, no, we need to teach these people how to sell this thing. So I told him, and you can take notes of what I'm going to tell you now because you can use this argument in your sales process. I said in adult education, there's 3 levels of education for adults. The first level is awareness, which is what a keynote does. A keynote, an hour, 45 minutes, is only about awareness. The speaker comes in, they emotionally charge you up, motivate you, get you irritated, then they leave. They make you aware there's a different way of looking at something. The second level of education is transference of skill. This is where you take what you intellectually understand, but then put in action. That's when you fall down and make mistakes. That's where an interactive workshop comes into place, or a longer training session, where you can make those mistakes in a calm environment, learn from it, gain confidence so you can go out there and try it. And then the third phase is measurement of results. I can come in and do a riveting keynote, but that's not what you need here. What you need is someone to go out into the field, assess the situation, try on some new conversation with the docs and the admins, and figure out how you can change the conversation so that they'll buy something when your competitor's giving it away for free. Well, if we do that, can you still come and do a keynote? I said, yeah, I'll do that. I'll go in 3 cities, sit in surgery, figure it out. I'll come in and do a 1.5-day training so I can do some transference of skill. Can you still do a keynote? And I said, yes, I'll do a closing riveting keynote on top of that. And I charged probably multiples, 3 times what Brian Tracy would have charged with his big fee, and I got the deal. All right, that's how I beat out Brian Tracy, because I was selling on the outcomes. And it wasn't just a keynote, I sold a process. I went in the field, and something was happening that I wasn't even aware of. I'd be sitting in surgery, and I'd be talking to the docs, and I'd be talking about the enterprise questions. So tell me, doc, what are your biggest challenges as a doc? What are the 3 biggest challenges? How do I get more procedures in? If I can get 2 more cases in. I said, well, tell me about what you charge for a case. It's the difference for me of making an extra $10,000 a week, $1 million a year if I can get in 2 more cases, a week, whatever the number is. I said, really, that much? He goes, yeah. And I said, well, this machine that Zomed has is talks by the magazines. It can shave off 7 minutes with this 3-in-1 unit on each case. Do you believe that? He goes, yes. Well, if they can get 14 minutes, how much does a case take from you? How much time do you extrapolate? He goes, yeah, I know that, but the hospital won't let me buy it. So then we took the same argument to the admins, and I had the same questions to the admins. What are your 3 biggest challenges? How can we put more throughput through the operating room? How can we get through more cases? And they take the same financial argument, and they started seeing the argument, and that this was the only machine that can do that. Well, as I was doing that, the sales reps started having their eyes opened up. Holy shit, we're selling features, we're not selling the outcomes, and they start seeing me having different conversations. By the time I got to the national sales meeting, they were telling their 100 other buddies, you better listen to this dude. There's a way to sell this stuff.
Okay.
So they already had the audience primed for me. So when they went in there and did that 1.5 day of training, they were listening with like an empty glass, wanting to have that water filled in. And then I went back to my hotel room and I was writing a Titan principle for 1.5 days, and I came back and did the riveting keynote. And then John called me back up and he goes, my God, they're selling this stuff. And within 3 months, they got back to $8 million. They were valued at $96 million. They just went publicly traded. They had a lot of shareholder pressure. 6 months later, they brought me back to keynote again, but they didn't tell them. They hid me in the kitchen of the hotel, and we had a plan that I was mic'd up, and they said, well, we tried to get Ron, but he wasn't available. I said, what do you mean I wasn't available? They heard his voice, and they brought me in like a rock star, and the place is going berserk. That was the second speech, but within 2 years, they became so competitive that Stryker left the market, and they were eventually sold to Medtronic for $1 billion. That's their story. That's their results that they attribute in part to me.
Okay.
But it all started with how I positioned myself, and I wasn't selling a speech.
But this was much more than a speech. You did a full transformational.
Right, but that's who I am as a speaker. I'm not selling a speech.
Got it.
Now I still speak. Don't get me wrong. I want to speak. But even if I'm just selling speeches, it's the same process. What are you trying to get out of this meeting? What are the results? And what do you hope to attain? And then I speak in context to those results. And then I present my speech. And when we present, the other thing, with neuroscience is that we've learned is there's context to the brain. So there's two chemicals in the brain. There's cortisol and dopamine. Cortisol is a stress chemical that we all have. So anytime we make a call to a client, even an existing client, we're an interruption to them. They're busy. So the moment the phone rings and they answer it, the cortisol spikes. Our job is to recognize that and to reduce that cortisol and to create the environment so the dopamine goes up, and so that we can have a good conversation. That depends on the questions we ask. We don't talk about ourselves. We don't talk about speeches. We get them to talk about where they're trying to go. We've done this with Edward Jones of Financial Services. We had their best customers come in. We had them sign release forms. We had hidden cameras. We saw their eyes. Moment, what are the 3 things you want your money to provide for you? The eyes went like this. And I do role plays on stage, and we interview people when it happens. And there's a transformation happening in one's brain where all of a sudden they shift, the cortisol goes down, they become more cooperative because you're changing the way people think just by that one question. So as long as you take on that responsibility, that you have control over that conversation, and it's the questions you ask the enterprise questions, where they're trying to go, what are the biggest challenges, and then present what you have in context to that, and then present what you have in options, 3 options. Don't give an either or. Because if you give an either or, you raise the cortisol again. So for example, I say, well, give me a proposal. Say, oh, my fee is $15,000, take it or leave it. I mean, oh my God, I can't afford this. And oh my God, it's yes or no. And if there's any fear, they're gonna go with the answer of no risk. And they're gonna say no to you. But if you give them 3 options, say, well, how do I do that? Well, there's 3 ways we can do that. First option is the whole thing. So, you mentioned that you want me to come in and help your team with market disruption, help them think differently, and yet you want them to keep the conversation going, the meeting's over because you don't want it to die. So the first option is that I'll come and do the presentation, and we'll give everybody a book, and we'll give them an on-site site license to my video program. And for the 100 people in the room, with the site license for the videos, the books, and my presentations, the whole fee for that will be $20,000. 1 year. If you don't want to do that and you just want me to come in and present and just give the books to everybody, then that fee will be $17,000. And if you just want me to come in and no books and you don't care about anything after the meeting and you take the risk that they won't follow it up, you just want me to make a great experience at the meeting, it's $15,000. Now, it's not a question of do I work with you, yes or no, it's which way is the best way for me to work with you, change how they think. It's not yes or no, it's which way can I afford to, and they'll find money one way or the other. And you start with the most expensive one because everybody wants that one. And if they buy into it already emotionally, they'll find some money. And if they can't, then they'll usually take the first or the second one, very rarely the last one. If they take the last one, at least you're selling yourself a full fee without discounting.
Right.
And when I worked with Hertz Equipment, which is part of Hertz in the mid-90s, I got to know the vice president very well, and I worked with him for 3 years. I got to see the inner workings of a big corporation, how to make decisions, because he hired me for 3 national sales meetings, and then he hired me again to speak the following year, but not as a keynoter because he already had me. So I brought in other speakers he hired. And they were like $25,000 deals at that time, 500 sets of materials, speeches, blah, blah, blah. And I saw how they make decisions, but I also saw how they funded it. Because the speaking fee was only $5,000 that they had. It was a line item in the budget. But because he was the VP and he wanted the books and the tapes, all right, he went to the marketing budget and got some money from that. So instead of giving out 3 towels, they gave out 2 towels and they gave out books. And if he had money from the training budget, he got money from that. So that's why it's also important to make sure you're not just speaking to a meeting planner who doesn't have control of the budget. You want to make sure you're speaking to the sponsor executive of the meeting if you can get to that person. But sometimes you can't. So you have to do a good enough job with the meeting planner to make sure that he or she is capable of having that conversation with the executive.
So, Ron, can I ask you a question? It'll be very specific to what I'm going through right now. So I had a conversation with Charles last week. Last week, somebody came to me and said, we are doing this meeting. It's a Fortune 20 company. I can't talk about the name of the company. And it's one of the divisions. So I know the CFO of that division because I gave him or took feedback on my book from him. And now they're going through a disruptive environment. They're bringing in 100 people from all over the world into their office over here in a summit. And they said, look, we're looking for an energizing speech. And Charles, I happened to talk to Charles and I said, what do I do? So I told him, even if I do it for free for them, that's a great resume value for me. I did not think in terms of, I can actually convert it into, what you were saying, go beyond that. I was saying, but I think I should charge something. So I was in a dilemma. Charles said, don't talk money. I said, great. That was his advice. I had this video conference with the guy. He's a meeting planner, but he's a senior director of marketing. So it's not a meeting planner so he understands the business. And I sat down with him and said, okay, what is exactly some of the things you said? What do you want out of the meeting? And I said, you have a conflict, right? Where you're telling me right now. I'm hearing 2 messages and both of them are in conflict with each other. And then he spent some time and said, yeah, you're right. So let's do this. Why don't you take this, think about what we need to do and get back. So I said, do you want a proposal? He said, no, I just want some ideas on what you think we can do here. Now, I don't know. I think potentially it can be a speech. It can be, so I gave just an outline, not a full-fledged proposal, no money in it, but basically saying you have 2 options. One is a speech, the other is a speech plus half-day workshop. I think I can go once we get to the next step, I can put some of these other things you're talking about. Now, as I step back here, they are going to be spending quite a lot of money. This business is billions of dollars and they are bleeding. Okay. I think if I add value, I can ask them $25,000. No big deal. I just don't know what their situation is. They may be thinking about, hey, let's get this guy for free. And, he would love to come and work because he's also a professor. I wear a professor hat. So maybe he doesn't need money. Sometimes it happens with me.
The professor can be viewed as a commodity because it's lower level, but there's some professors that get billed out at high fees.
Right.
It all depends on how you position it.
Correct.
Right? But let's go back to who they are. How much do you think they're spending on that meeting?
They would be spending 100 people coming in business class from all over the world. They're spending easily, more than 100,000, maybe $250,000 they'll be spending, maybe more.
And that's just a hard course.
What
are they trying to achieve with this meeting?
They're trying to achieve basically what I do really well. They're getting disrupted and they're trying to rally the troops. People are very defeated.
Hold on, but you're not going deep enough.
Okay, so
what's at stake if they don't succeed?
Their business is going through a decline. Their organization is not engaged. They want engagement.
No, you're not going deep enough.
Okay.
What's at stake? They're finding some kind of financial loss. They're finding some kind of competitive loss. What is it? He's got to tell you that. You didn't ask that question.
So basically, their strategy is at a limit.
You didn't ask that question.
Oh no! So I understand that business really well. So I know exactly what's going on. I've written about it. in my books.
What are they losing?
They are losing market share.
How much?
They're losing, they just lost 5% points in the last 3 years.
And what does 5% mean to them?
Hundreds of millions.
So you got to extrapolate that.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure, and he's got to say that. So I would say, look, in the last 3 years, knowing your business, you just lost 5 market points. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. How much is each market point worth to you? Let him give you the number, not you. He'll say 30 million. Say, okay, great. So that's 150 million. Can you afford to lose another 150 million? He'll go, no. Can't afford another. How many more of that 150 million do you need to get back? So is that the goal of this meeting? To start that process? He'll go, yes. Okay. So when it's 150 million, really you're gonna balk at 25,000 when you're spending 250,000, and when you got this at stake? That's how you set that up.
Okay. Now, there is one wrinkle only, that this company is so arrogant. They think they know everything. They only, my concern is, so his question was, are you flexible in your message? What you will give to people? I said, it's basically what the objective is. That's what we need to get.
Well, I would ask him, what do you mean by flexible?
Okay.
You see, you're responding too fast to a lot of these things.
Okay.
You're answering without asking him what he means. I want to find out more information.
Okay. Okay. So this is, I'm taking a piece out of a conversation. So I know exactly what he means. He means, will I only talk about the principles that I have espoused in my books and in my speeches and in my talks, or do I have the flexibility to go beyond it in line with what they are doing?
Absolutely. That's called customization. And there's a fee for that.
Okay. So
Ankush, just hold on a second.
let me wrap this up.
Go ahead.
So my question to you was, Ron, in this situation, if I walked out saying, I'm fine with just doing a speech for free, just give me my expenses paid, that would be a bad idea, right?
It'll be a huge bad idea. You know why? Because you just took away any position you had from the work you did, and you're positioning yourself as zero value.
Okay.
Anything you do for them in the future, there's no positioning for value. Remember, this is strategic. And remember one more thing. You have to go in there pretending that you can afford to lose this. If you don't go in there with the feeling that you can afford to lose it, you won't be successful in your negotiation.
Okay.
And you got to be prepared to lose it.
Okay. Okay.
We have a newcomer on the board.
That was Lawrence. Lawrence is, we have a little mastermind session where we're going to put Ankush on the hot seat when we're done with you, Ron. So Ankush Lawrence was busy earlier, but he's going to get on the line to pick on Ankush. But I just wanted to kind of tie something up that you guys were just talking about. And it's, Ankush, we know you're an expert. We know you know what you're talking about, right? What Ron is trying to get at is that you want them to tell you what they need. They don't want to hear the answers to all their problems right there and then. They want to tell you so that you can respond to them and what you can do. Don't tell them what they need. Give them a chance and draw it out of them what they really need so that you could just respond with what you could do for them.
Sure.
The sales process, you want to do 10% talk and 90% listening. You're more powerful that way.
Sure.
I know we're running short on time. Lawrence, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm sorry that you missed most of the session. Tell me what you're looking for out of the remaining time that we have, and I'll try and skew it a little bit towards you.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, I had mentioned to Charles I was probably going to have a hard time getting to it. And I'm going to catch the replay, so I will be able to hear what you said.
Okay.
As Charles mentioned, I was trying to get here to a point where I know that we do this hot seat thing after the presentation, but I'm really not even 100% sure what I need at the moment, other than because I'm still pretty much in the infancy of my speaking career, and I'm putting that in quotations. formulating what I would want to speak about and all that. So I'm doing a lot more listening than talking, I guess, to absorb and kind of just digest for the moment. I'm in digestion mode.
Okay. All right. Well, then let me go through a couple of things to this media, this guide that you have for the remaining 15 minutes. Marketing on the web, social media, you got to do all that stuff. I do a blog every week. I do a newsletter. I just redid my website. We just did 2 online programs that we made into an institute that we're now selling. Everything is repurposed. That's the theme I want to give you. Everything that you write. So what you don't know about me is I had 9 surgeries in the last 2.5 years since I came off my presidency from NSA. A couple of them were things I had to get fixed, but 3 were back surgeries. The last one was put me on my ass really bad in December. It was a 9-level fusion. I'm still getting over it. So while I was preparing for that surgery, I knew I was going to be down for a few months. And with my web guy, we created a podcast series. We did about 15 videos. And I had my editor for my blog lined up. I had my virtual assistant for a newsletter. And we had enough digital material lined up that they could repurpose throughout those months. So, but we ran out, and I was not mentally ready to create more because of the pain medications I was on. So, but when it was out, they still kept working it. So my blog editor went back to my old YouTube videos, and she transcribed them and turned them into blogs. And so that became a few of the blogs that went out. And then those blogs became part of the new newsletters. So newsletters kept going out. And so the thing that I'm saying is you can take one video and do video blogs, by the way. Just put them on your laptop, make a 2-3 minute thing about what's happening. Everything I do, I try to do about what's happening, because I find those are my best viewed blogs by example. So my daughter graduated from Northeastern 2 weeks ago, and Christiana Amanpour from CNN was the keynote speaker, and she did a quote from a civil rights activist that said, make good trouble. I created a blog on that line, and I talk about sales and leadership, and I said about impact, and I said, make good trouble for your customers. So if you're going out and trying to replace a 30-year relationship because you got something better, that's making good trouble. If you're charging higher prices because you got a better value proposition, that's making good trouble. And I'm using that theme, and it became a blog, but it was relevant and people loved it. The blog that's going out tomorrow is on Derek Jeter's, retirement from Sunday and how he led with impact. And it's all relevant. Now, you can do video blogs. I'm going to start doing them again as I get healthier. But our video blogs, I shoot on this, or my web guy will shoot me, from my desk in my office, and then he'll create the videos. And from that, we can then transcribe and put them onto a written blog if you want. And the most amazing thing is they'll see the video blog, and then all of a sudden we'll transcribe it and put it on the written blog, and they'll pretend they never saw it, and they'll say, what a great piece this is. It's the most amazing thing. But the video blog, every time, a video or a written blog, whenever we post it, we immediately put it on LinkedIn. We post it in full, as well as put as a link to the website. We tweet it. I have 40,000 followers on Twitter. We tweet it on Twitter. We put it on Facebook. Well, I don't put it on Facebook anymore because Facebook mostly is a social media. But we put it all over through social media. And I now belong to a sales group of sales experts, and we tweet each other's campaigns and audiences. So you need to start developing a social media campaign. It's free advertising. Make it relevant. But most importantly, it doesn't always have to be new material. It's repurposing existing material that you have and just keep getting it out there. It's consistency and frequency that you have to work on. And there's there are people out there in different universes that are not that expensive that can help you do it. Since we don't have time to do everything ourselves and we're not experts in all this stuff. Any questions on that?
Is your video blog probably no more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes at the most, I'm assuming?
2 to 3 minutes.
That's it?
4 minutes, yeah.
Where is it?
That's all the tolerance that's out there, Lawrence. Unfortunately.
And it's also video blog is part of my regular blog. This is whether or not there's a video on it today or if it's a written article. And the other thing is you have to create your own YouTube channel if you haven't done it already. Very easy to do. And just keep putting videos up there and get people to subscribe to it. And make sure that your Twitter account, your YouTube, the branding's all the same in all the accounts. How you brand your website and all that.
I don't see your video blog. Is it a part of your blog or is it a part of the YouTube channel?
It's a part of my blog, but we haven't done a video in my blog for the last few months because of my surgery, but we're going to start putting videos as part of it. But we do get better hit rates sometimes when videos are part of it because people like to watch videos. But the one key thing that you have to keep in mind, make sure that your website and the blog is part of your website, but make sure it's mobile friendly.
Yeah.
It has to be mobile friendly because most of our audiences right now are going to look at it on their smartphones. Test every part of your website to make sure it's mobile friendly, including your blog, because if it's not, you'll lose some readership.
Just to clarify, I think on the video blog, I was thinking of the YouTube channel. On your YouTube channel, your videos be a little bit longer because people now are waiting, maybe are going there for more detailed information, or do you still keep it 2 to 3 minutes on the YouTube channel?
There are a couple that are longer, but it's usually my speaking demo and some of the videos like a meeting planner video. But I would try, we live in the age of Twitter, 140 characters. Well, think of yourself, okay, when you get something. How much time and attention do you have when you got precious to look at everything else? And especially if it's boring, not that you're boring, but in today's day and age, the longer it is, it better be really engaging. So you got it, the longer it is, it should be raw, but it should also have some, people want to see some edited print on it. So it's not just use a talking head, but they can read along with it too to keep them engaged. There might be some music, there might be some interaction. So the longer it is, the more engagement you got to have, the harder it is. So I try and keep it shorter. The shorter, the better.
Ron,
Yes.
Tell me 3 things. I'm going to use the strategy you just taught us. Tell me 3 things that make for a good video. You gave us that it should be concise, like it shouldn't take a lot of time. But I'm asking for 2 more things because you already gave me.
Number one's the title. Title has to be an outcome-based title that people want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So when we look at titles, including like the blog. So the title we have for this blog going out is, what do we title it? I forgot the name of it.
Be a troublemaker and increase your sales?
No, we try to stay away from sales in a title because spam filters will flag that, and we actually test the titles to my editor will test the titles to see which ones will pass. Hang on a second. Let me just.
How do you do that? Is there a software or some service?
Yeah, I forget which one, but I'll try and find it out for you. But let me see. I got it here. Here we go. The title for this blog is "Impact the World Like Number 2." All right. So it's you get laughing, and you want to know what's that about, right?
Yes.
And who's number two, right?
Yes.
It's like to tell me more, right?
Exactly.
Feed is number two. So that's what you want. You want to get their attention to open it up, right? So titles is really important. And that's the subject line, by the way. Use the title of your video or blog in your subject line to get their attention. So that's number one.
Okay, so what's the third one? So you said...
No, that's number one, title.
Okay.
Oh, one could be keep it short, but two is title. Number three, start by challenging your audience. Get in their face. Be riveting. Don't say, you can say, hi, my name is Ron Karr, but no one really gives a damn about your name. I still do that, but I mean, you can, but remember, just like the first line in the email, you don't get like the first line email, hi, thank you it was a pleasure meeting you at the XYZ conference. Oh God, make me throw up. You just wasted the most important line. The first line I do in the email is saying, when you said your biggest challenge was, surviving disruption, the first thing that came to my mind was X, Y, and Z. Now you got my attention, right? You want to do the same thing in a video, right? You sit there and you challenge people. There's a book called The Challenge of Sale. I love it. The reason I love it is because that's how I teach sales, but I wish I was smart enough to have that title. I wasn't. But you want to challenge people. Remember, in a keynote, you challenge people, right? So you want to challenge people to get their attention. So in the first video, say, the three biggest mistakes people make when it comes to engaging people in articles writing is X, Y, and Z. Here are three things you should be working on. Boom, boom, and boom. There you go. So you want to challenge them. You want to give them something to take away, and if you can, put a story in there. Stories are huge. People learn by stories. That's why we talk about Jeter. The whole blog is about Jeter. It's a story. The one about Cristiano Amanpour, that was a story. Stories. Storytelling, we use stories in speeches. If you don't use stories in your speeches, you won't get invited back.
Can I ask something else? So do you use a script, or do you, since you're a subject matter expert, do you sometimes, and it's so brief, are you sometimes impromptu with your YouTube videos? Yeah,
so I mean, I'll write a script, but I never follow it. I never get the same speech the same way the second time, but I have an agenda. What I usually do script out is the opening lines and the closing lines, because I find the opening lines to be the most important. The closing lines, especially a call to action, to be important. I don't want to screw that up. But I'll have an agenda, like here's a point, story, and what does it mean to Glenna Salisbury, who's my mentor and past president. She came to New Jersey to speak. She has a great format for doing stories, but it's like, what's it like point? I forgot her formula, but basically it's, you got the story. So what's the point? What's the story? And more importantly, what does it mean to the audience? You got to bring it home. Because if you let the audience figure it out, they will never get there. Follow me?
Yes.
So always have a story in the video.
Okay.
And because people get captured by stories. So for instance, we're doing a video on how to breaking through 1,000 resumes to get that interview. Right? And the first thing you're a college student, you just got your degree. And now you're facing a daunting task. How do I get past 1,000 interviews to get that one interview? Let me share this story with you. And now you have an example of one of your students, right? You don't have to mention him by name. And you're saying, here's a student, and what did she do differently? And then you give her the process you gave her, but make her the hero, not you. Make the person in the story the hero. I always have trouble with that because I don't do it on purpose, but I work on that. You always got to make them the hero. And then wrap it up with the summary of the point, and then how they can contact you if they want more, and that's the video.
All right, so we do need to be mindful of time. Ron gave us a little extra. We were only scheduled for hour 15, Ron, but thank you for throwing in extra. No
Sorry.
problem. So does anybody have any quick wrap-up questions before we jump in and start tearing Ankush apart?
Yeah. I have a question for Ron. Ron, thanks a lot for this. Was really helpful. So my only question for you is, knowing everything you know now, if you look back at your career, what would have been one thing you would have done at the very beginning to accelerate your success through the years?
So making them think.
Join the NSA mastermind group, and I probably would have done more to build my confidence early on.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
I hope this helped you guys.
Oh, it was great. Thank you.
It did.
So let's give Ron some applause since we got the mics off. Thanks.
Lawrence, I'm sorry we didn't have much time, but you know.
Well, thank you for your share.
No, Ron, everything was great. We really appreciate you putting in the time, giving back to our group and to NSA, and for all you've done for the New Jersey chapter and for National. We really appreciate it, and we wish you good health and good recovery with your surgeries.
Thanks. And I wish you all Godspeed and all the success.
Thank you, Ron, very much. I look forward to seeing the YouTube of it.
All right, thank you. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, Lawrence, thank you very much for joining in. My heart sank when I didn't see you. Who's going to ask the difficult questions?
Did Charles tell you to tell me that?
No, I left the surprise that it was coming on. Just wanted, because we kind of ended with video, and I went through some video training for how to get people's attention in this very short little time span that you have when you're doing YouTube videos and blogs and teaching videos, little things like that. 3 things that you want to put into your videos. Ron said you can or you can't, but if you want people to follow you and engage with you, definitely open up by telling them who you are. Then you want to talk about the problem you're going to solve for them in the video. So right away, tell them what you're going to talk about and what problem you're going to solve. Okay, so every video that you do, that you put out, should be a problem-solving video. So like I said, how to get your resume to break through when there's a million out there. Brainstorm the problems you could solve, and then start doing videos on those. And then call to action. What do you want them to do? Do you want them to simply sign up for your YouTube channel? Do you want them to buy a product? Do you want them to buy a book? Do you want them to come to a conference? What do you want them to do next? Don't just give them all this great content and don't give them an avenue to get more.
Now, that's great. Charles, what if somebody's watching your video after video? Doesn't that get really boring to have you, hey, I am Ankush Chopra and I do this, and then this is what I'm going to talk. That initial part where you're introducing yourself, you keep doing that over and over again. Doesn't that get boring?
But Ankush, some viewers are only going to watch a single video from your channel.
It's unlikely that somebody's going to sit down and go through 10 of your videos. Yeah. It's more likely that you're going to have a blog post and they're going to get notification that the blog is coming out and they'll look at it. Or you'll share it somewhere and they're going to see it. So you might post it on LinkedIn and somebody's going to see it on YouTube, on your blog. And then, yeah, if they're engaged, they're not going to matter. And we're not talking about a lengthy, we're talking about 10-second introduction.
Oh, okay. Okay.
My name is Ankush Chopra, and just tell them if you have a moniker or something like that, you can say professor, author, and expert on XYZ, and then you tell them the problem you're going to solve. Yeah, 10 seconds, just 10 seconds about yourself.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so the hot seat. You got all kinds of fresh material. You've got a willing audience. Tell us a little bit about what you think you need the most help with.
Okay. All right. I think my biggest challenge right now and which would really move the needle for me, is if I can somehow get out of what all I'm doing and spend some focused attention on going after the associations. It has been on my to-do list for almost 3 months. I've done nothing. I've been doing client work, which is of course important. I have to deliver to get anything else. And that's basically what's running all the lights. I'm doing all kinds of social media because I have to, once I've committed to it, I can't stop. I have basically these two things, plus all my online videos, trainings, and the next book, which I've just finished writing, is all have taken up my time, which in all of this, the piece which was important, which I said in the beginning of the year, I have to do it this year, I haven't done it.
All right, Ankush, I got a great solution for you. We had a guy come in last year or a year before. The guy's name was Ed Rigsby, and he focuses on associations, right? So this was a nice backdoor. I don't think I shared this with you. This was a nice backdoor way, he said, to get into association and give association speeches. Okay, there's all kinds of people calling the meeting planner, right? How many people are calling the newsletter person and trying to get their attention? You've got, okay, just hold on. You've got all this great content. He was talking about repurposing the content. Call the newsletter guys and offer to write an article. You can even have evergreen stuff that you already have, 10 articles that you're willing to share with their association, offer to share it with them. After they say yes, after they've used one or two, you say, by the way, who is hiring for your next association meeting? It's a warm call, because now you've got this person's name. You can say XYZ told you to call, that you've been writing some time for their association. It's a nice backdoor into associations.
Can I also add to that, Ankush? With everything that you said you had going on, I think delegating would really help you to kind of narrow down what you want to focus on and to simplify the many tasks that you have. Because that's one thing that Ron just said, that delegating somebody for social media, because it's very time consuming and you want it to stay current, and then delegating somebody else for another task, because if that's what you want your focus to be, associations, and you want to apply what Charles just said, then you need to have other people do the more menial things.
And that's a really great thing. And I think that's been on my agenda. I've started working on that. So the editing part of my book, I've now already given it to some guy who will do it instead of me wasting time looking at it a second, third, fourth, fifth time. Okay. I'm getting somebody who's going to go sell my programs to clients. But there is something is happening here because of which I think Lawrence is still waiting. He's going to come with the answer here. That Charles told me to go for the newsletter. I put it down saying I have to go there. That's a great idea. I haven't put a single piece of email to a single guy or even put a database together for the associations. And every week I make a one-pager on Tom's theme, and I have not done it. With that one-pager, which he says is the engagement letter that you send to people. I haven't even done that. And it seems like I keep trying to set a day aside for it. That never happens, and it moves to the next week and to the next week. So life's going on, and people are still, I'm getting more work to do in my facilitation, in my strategy training. And now people are even asking me for speaking, but I am not driving it, which is what I am very concerned about. The world is driving me and I'm not driving it.
I have the answer for you now.
Yes.
What I keep always coming back to with you, Ankush, is that I think from the first time that you described, I think, your hesitancy to speak, I got the impression that you didn't feel comfortable being in whatever position you are, that you would have to go out and affirmatively try and get speaking engagements. I felt that there was some resistance internally within yourself, that that's not something you're comfortable doing, putting yourself out there, putting yourself on the line. Maybe it's something you feel that, is beneath you to go and do it. You're a professor and it's like, hey, I shouldn't have to go seek a speaking engagement. People should come and throw all these speaking engagements at me. And I feel that you are still not over that hurdle internally. And before you address that within yourself, you will always find other reasons to keep yourself busy. And they are legitimate reasons to keep yourself busy. So you can do it. You've been doing it for years. So and they're good things too. You're getting work, you're getting paid. So it's not like those are bad things. You're not out there, in a bar someplace guzzling beer all day long. So you have legitimate reasons not to do what you're internally uncomfortable doing. And I think that keeps you in a spin. Keep that you're in the same spin that you've been in for a long time. And until you say to yourself, okay, what's going on inside of me that's stopping me from doing what I really keep telling everybody I want to be doing? Because there's no reason that you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. You have all that material and all the ability. You have everything in place to do the speaking. You haven't implemented the actual, hey, I got to put myself on the line and go out there and get these speaking gigs. And that's it. I got to do that. That's what I hear when I hear you talking.
Okay.
Does that ring true at all?
What can I do about it? I mean, maybe I'm not seeing it, and you're the last person to see what's holding you back.
Yeah. I mean, does that feel right to you at all or no? I could be completely off target.
My wife also said, what is stopping you? Why do you not want to? Why is it that why don't you want to be, or the way she put it, why don't you seize the success that's coming to you? Why are you afraid of success? Is what she said this morning to me. Something similar, what you were telling me. And I said, I don't know. Let me think about it. Because it seems there's a lot of things coming my way, and I think I can do a lot more. And I guess one of the things I can do is clearly go implement some of the things what I'm learning in NSA, but I haven't done it. And it is, you're probably right. It's internal. It's very easy to say, okay, this is more important. Everything is more important than just putting together a bunch of a database of associations, sending a bunch of emails to them. Everything, whether it's a client meeting, a proposal, a blog, a podcast, they all have to happen. And so at least now I'm not working on the weekends. Until last weekend, I was working every weekend, all weekends, which I've stopped doing now. But
Ankush, I have a similar dilemma because I find myself in the same sort of cycle. And are you open to having an accountability partner, somebody who can kind of move you along, and you have to come to them and actually say, I actually did this. Like what Lawrence said, like I actually spoke at this engagement. Somebody to kind of just give you a nudge in that direction.
I'm very open to it. And definitely. I mean, there's nothing, I have no qualms about that. That would be really, really useful. Lawrence called me up once and gave me a kick in the backside, I remember, early on. And then I said, let me go do some more stuff on this thing.
Yeah, like the virtual accountability systems, they do work, but sometimes we just need an actual person to answer to.
Okay.
To just give us that nudge.
Now, I was in a similar situation around 8 years back. I was a professor at Babson. My biggest goal was to run this and build this particular business. And I was in that same situation. I was teaching and I was writing my research, writing my research. I used to get 1 day a week. Every now and then I would have a little bit of energy to go reach out to new clients. I would do it, but it was never systematic. What got me off is not something I did. It was just an inflection point that came that after I had gone through enough number of people, enough number of things, people started driving me, which is what's happening right now. So it's not that I have gone and figured out a very brilliant way of getting new business. I don't have any way. I'm just touch wood, something's just coming and it just keeps coming and it helps me. But the same thing happened there. There I know all of what you are saying was correct. Today, I don't have a problem. I mean, if I have to go and there's a speech that I'm supposed to, I'm talking about it. And I can say, yeah, I'm already visualizing the first story that I'm going to talk about, the first line that I'm going to talk about. None of that I'm not uncomfortable talking. I love being on the podium. I love it more than anything else.
All right. So then wait. So is that what you want to do more of then? You definitely want to do more speaking on the podium.
I do. It is very important for me to do that.
Okay. So you want to do that. It's very important, but do you want to do that?
Yes.
Absolutely want it. Okay. You absolutely want to. And if you absolutely want to do it, then what do you know that you need to do to get more speaking opportunities?
Just take action. I'm telling you that all I need to do is take action and I'm not doing it.
Okay. So why are you not doing it?
Because I think I'm basically putting it saying, oh, I need to first read this book, speak more, make my profile, make my kit, and then I will do all that.
So you want to be, so you want to, do you want to feel like you have to be perfectly prepared before you do it?
At least
I make a mistake.
Unless at least I think I need to have some of the basic things that all speakers have. A reel, a pamphlet, something that goes on, something that makes you a legitimate speaker before I start doing it. So that's what is stopping me. And this is what happened long time back also, where I was saying, I'm going to have the whole book, the whole program ready, and then I'm going to start selling it.
No. I'm not going to let you say that. I don't think you need any of that. I think you right now need to start speaking. You have enough stuff to start speaking on. You have material. You need to speak. You have to jump in the pool. You're outside the pool right now, walking around saying, okay, I got to make sure my bathing suit's on right. I got to have my towel here when I come out. I got to make sure that I have sunscreen on. I got to wait for the sun to go behind the cloud. I just ate about 20 minutes ago. I'm going to wait another 10 more minutes to do that. I'm going to, make sure that I don't look offensive to anybody before I jump in the pool. You got to jump in the pool. You got to get in the pool. Right now, you have to get in the pool. You have so much capability to go speaking right now. You have so much material. You've done it already. You've gotten up in front of an audience. It's not like the first time yet you're going to ever speak in front of a group. You did it. You do it, So you're already doing it. So you have to now to take Joy's offer, become accountable to Joy. And you have to say, you know what, today's Wednesday. You have an hour. I guarantee you have 45 minutes to an hour every day. The first thing you do is to reach out to associations and make some phone calls. You can do that. And you can do that. If you really want this to happen, you will put that as your priority first, more than anything else that you're doing. And you'll say, you know what, I'm not going to do everything else first today and leave that for the last 45 minutes of the day. I'm going to do that the first 45 minutes tomorrow. And then everything else I'll do. Because this is more important to you right now. And if you do that, then by the end of the week, you've had 5 hours of reaching out to getting into associations. And I guarantee you, it's not going to be hard for you to eventually get some interest in an association based on the topic that you want to speak on. But you have to commit that that's what you want to do. You have to jump in the pool. You have to get in a pool right now. I'm sorry. You just have to jump in. Because I think when you jump in and do it, you're going to get so excited and motivated from the success. You're going to get so high off of that experience that you're going to want to do more and more of it. And that's going to propel you to do other things that will be necessary. And you will do all that other stuff. But the point is that right now, more than anything, you have to start speaking. You just can't stop. You have to stop preparing. You have to start speaking. That's how I see it.
Yeah, there's always going to be something. There's always going to be something that you could do or maybe you can do later or should do. It's always going to be that stuff. Just like with the pool analogy. I mean, not having goggles doesn't mean you can't get in the water. Not having, whatever. I'm thinking a female, swimmer, but I guess guys don't wear bathing caps. But I'm just saying, you don't need everything to get started.
Done is better than perfect.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, do you have video, Ankush?
I do.
So you said you don't have a sizzle reel. Why don't you pay somebody together and put a sizzle reel together for you? Send somebody your best stuff, and you're talking about delegating. Come up with a nice intro, outro, and
So I have all of that. I have all of that. Now, I was thinking about getting the reel. Are you talking about the reel or the YouTube videos?
No, I'm talking about a promotional video. I thought you said you didn't have a promotional video on your website, like a speaker video.
Not yet. No, I don't have it.
But that's okay, Charles. Don't tell him to make one. We don't want him to do anything. We want him to start calling.
But delegate. You can delegate that.
But he doesn't have to do that to start speaking at an association. He doesn't need a speaker reel to start speaking at an association. Don't give him something else to do right now. Start calling the associations.
I think I need that video, but tell me more about. That's what I was thinking about. It's called the speaker reel.
Sidetracked again.
Yeah, no, you don't need this. This is my saying. Tomorrow morning, Ankush, get up and start making some phone calls. You don't need all this other stuff. Let them say to you, oh, do you have a speaker reel? Oh, yeah, I'll send you something. Then put it together. You need to start making phone calls and getting in front of somebody. And you don't need any, whether it's an association or it's a Rotary Club, I don't care what it is. You need to get up and start speaking. And you don't need all this other stuff. And if you allow yourself to give yourself permission to look into dabbling into anything else before that, you're not facing the real problem.
But one thing that I agree. Charles, can you tell me what should be in that video?
Let's talk after the call.
Okay.
I'm gonna let these guys continue to tear you up a little bit.
Now you see, here's what I'm saying. At the moment I've got all these ideas, the one that caught my attention is that reel. Because
all right, okay, listen, go find speakers who speak on similar topics, go to their websites, check out their videos. Find the elements that grab your attention.
And how long does he spend on that? If he spends an hour on that tomorrow, you didn't do an hour of calling. That's the whole point. You can get, all this stuff is like rat hole stuff. Think of it this way, Ankush. Before social media existed, people didn't do this stuff to speak. They just called and said, hey, do you need a speaker? And there's no excuse. I'm playing hardball right now because I know it's already May and you are not speaking nearly as much as you should be, given with the material that you have. And I'm telling you, you are avoiding something internally. It has nothing to do with these external flashy medals, videos and social media and reels. That's all. You can get lost in that stuff.
I have 3 goals for this year, right? One was to have 12 products out. Number 2 is to basically have a dominant social media position. And third, use NSA to speak 25 times. The number 1 and 2 I've done a lot of because it's a very comfort zone. The third one.
How many times have you spoken?
I've spoken. I mean,
no, through this NSA thing. How many times?
Right. So I haven't spoken even once because of that. But I have done what I know I've normally been doing. That's my speaking work, which I've done like 200 plus hours of speaking so far.
Yeah, but no. Let's back up. I'm going to put you on the witness stand.
Association piece, I have done zilch. So let's.
Okay. All right. So it's zero, and it's now mid-May. Yeah. So May's going to be over, like we know, it's going to be over in a flash.
Right.
You'll have 7 months left to go. You got to rule out the end of December, right, and Thanksgiving. So, and then the last 2 weeks in August. So, a lot of the year goes so fast, it's ridiculous. Everybody can agree to that.
Yeah.
If you want to speak 25 times, you better get going. You better get going. You better be making phone calls tomorrow. You have no reason not to get up in the morning and make a phone call tomorrow. At 10, you have no reason not to. I'm sorry. Unless you tell me you have no idea who to call. Do you have any idea who to call?
I need to build a database of associations that I should get.
Well, you don't. There's actually a lot of resources for getting information about associations and who runs them. So I don't have the information, but you can look it up. You can Google it. But there
Okay.
are places to find centralized information about associations.
You could probably just Google associations. And what is your topic again? I forgot, Ankush. What's the topic?
You won't find an association. So it'll be Association of Strategy Professionals, probably.
What is the topic that you want to speak on?
I want to speak on innovation and on disruption.
Okay, that could be in any field, right?
No. So disruption has a specific meaning. It means failure of firms.
What?
Failure of companies. That's called disruption.
Yeah, but it could be not. You're not any one particular industry, is it?
No. I can talk to any industry.
That's what I'm saying. So what you can get on Google tomorrow. Spend 15 minutes at most. I guarantee you'll find a list of associations that you can call. You just start. You can find companies. My point is, you can find not companies, associations. You're not even industry specific, so you could find, just for purposes for tomorrow, you could find, I'm sure, 10 associations to call tomorrow easily, because you're not industry specific. So if you start Googling things, you don't need to make a database. I heard you say that, by the way. No, you don't. You don't need to, not you tomorrow. You don't need to make a database. What Ankush needs to do tomorrow is call 10 associations. And you can Google that and write it down on a piece of paper and write their phone numbers down on a yellow legal pad or whatever pad you have. Don't go into making an Excel spreadsheet database. Just start making phone calls, because that's your biggest fear right now, is doing this.
Yeah, but is that correct? Making phone calls? I was thinking the way Charles suggested was really good. Send emails to people saying, hey, I want to contribute to your newsletter.
Well, I wasn't saying emails. I was saying calling the guy who's in charge of the newsletter is a good way. Backroom, not an email. Call the guy who's in charge, because they're always looking for content. And then when you're done, when that guy accepts your content, you say, oh, by the way, would you mind putting me in touch with the person who's in charge of hiring for your next convention?
But Charles, usually these query letters are always sent by emails, right? People don't call.
That's not true. You call up, Ankush, excuse me for interrupting you, but you call up, hey, I've been researching your association. I'm a speaker. I'm a speaker on X, Y, and Z, whatever your topic is. I'd like to know who can I speak to directly to find out about potentially speaking for your association? Who can I reach out to? You'll get the name of somebody, or maybe they'll give you an email, whatever, but ask them for a phone number. Ask for a phone number. And my whole point in this is that you don't want to do this. I know you don't want to do this, because this is the part that makes you uncomfortable, is Ankush has to put himself on the line to get a speaking engagement. It's a lot safer to send an email, because there's really no risk involved emailing. It's just a little risk. It's just a little quick 5-minute email. But you're sending out an email. Your best bet is to try to get the guy. And if you could get his voicemail, and then you can tell him, hey, you know what, you're who you are. I'll shoot you off a quick email. Maybe you'll get his email address from somebody else. Leave him a voicemail and say, hey, I'll shoot you an email and then I'll follow up with you. You can do that too. I'm not saying it's never good to send an email, but it's more powerful to try to get him on the phone. And then if you can't, you could follow up with an email, and then I'll reach back to you, or your email can be short and sweet, and leave your contact information. But my whole point is, I'm really just trying to drive home the need that is apparent to me as your buddy here. And I'm only doing this because you're in the hospital.
No, I appreciate all of it. Don't worry about it.
I'm just telling you that you need to do this for yourself, because you have to go through this experience of what it is that's holding you back. Because if you don't deal with that, Ankush, I'm sorry, you're not going to get over the threshold. You got to break through that. And there's something within you holding you back from doing this, because it's really not that complicated. It's not rocket science. It doesn't have to be put together with a big spreadsheet and videos. That's all nice. That's all good in time, but it doesn't have to right now. You can just jump in the pool. Just get in the pool.
Yeah, your response rate sending out blind cold emails is not going to be high, or even anything. Just sending random emails to people that don't know you.
Yeah, they're just, who wants to respond to that? They're going to probably just, delete it or just, you're better off trying to do something more old school first and see where that takes you.
Okay.
Ankush, email me. I think I have a copy of that, some of the handouts that Ed Rigsby gave me as far as contacting and connecting with associations. I probably scan it on my phone and send it out to you if you
Okay.
just send me an email reminding me.
I just wanted to add, Ankush, it's okay if you need somebody to actually take you by the hand and walk you through this very daunting process.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. Absolutely none.
I think you and Joyce sound like perfect. I think you should take Joy. Sorry, Joy. You should take Joy's suggestion and hold each other accountable, because it sounds like that's because you know what? When you have to answer to somebody verbally on the phone, hey, what did you do? It's harder to kind of come up with the excuses and all that. Somebody can really hold your feet to the fire. The 3 commit thing is nice and all that, but there is a buffer there because it's all, you can kind of, even if you don't do it, it's just like an internet thing. It's not a big deal.
No. I found something. I can do 10 things every day. I am definitely doing 3. So I kept putting those 3 things there, but none of them were about going after associations.
Yeah, I know. I read them all the time, and I thought the exact same thing every time I saw them. You might as well put, do my laundry tonight.
No, you said feed the cat.
I did. I know, because I said to myself, that's all I can do today is I'll feed the cat.
All right, so just in the interest of time, we are wrapping up. We're getting close to 2 hours on the phone. It was wonderful. It was great. I'm glad everybody seemed to be engaged and got a lot out of it. It's kind of a catch-22. I mean, we only had 2 people on the call most of the time, but that means the 2 people who showed up got some really, really individual attention from the former president of the National Speakers Association, which is pretty awesome. I'm sure he would have billed somebody else a couple $1,000s for the time he spent with us. So that was great. Sorry for the folks who missed out, but hopefully they can learn from you guys.
This was awesome. I loved. I got into a huge amount today.
All right.
Likewise.
Terrific.
Did you say what that guitar was for?
That was Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band signed. The NSA gave him that at convention when he finished his term.
Oh, how nice. That's nice.
Yeah. I asked too. All right. So
thank you for being an excellent facilitator.
Oh, you're welcome. Does anybody have any closing questions before we close up? We're going to make this available as soon as possible.
Joy, I forgot. Did you a couple of months ago? I don't remember. I think you sent me something on website development. Did you send me something, or somebody else send me something?
That was Asha, but I had the editorial.
You were the editorial. All right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just trying.
Okay. Just a reminder to everybody.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Ankush. Did you have something to say?
I was going to say, Lawrence, don't try to build a website on your own. It's not very expensive. You can pay $1,000 to somebody who will do it for you.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Go to upwork.com and post a job. You will get people who will do it for you.
Yeah.
Just be. I actually have a really good web person that I found on Elance.
Oh yeah.
But you have to be very specific because Upwork bought out Elance, but you have to be very specific. So go and find a website that you like, so that you can keep them in line with what your vision is.
Right.
Go out and find people on the topics that you're speaking on, the elements that you want, and then you can say, look, can you replicate this for me? But then you have to come up with the content. So that's the hardest part, is coming up with the content. But it might be a 3-4 page website to begin with, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I know somebody too. I'm going to give you her info.
Oh, thanks.
She's really reasonable and does a good job.
Oh, can you send me your email? You'll send me your. You have my email to send me. You have my email, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll send you the email,
of your guy?
Websites that the girl put together for me, and you could decide whether you like it or not.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
So I just want to remind everybody we have our board installation / meeting. It's going to be Saturday, June 10th. Where the morning is going to be leaving a legacy, which is right up your alley, I think, Lawrence, because I know that's kind of the what you've learned through your experience. You want to give that back. The whole authenticity thing. Awesome guy. He's one of the most successful speakers in NSA. He speaks over 200 times a year, full fee. He's he's got all the industry awards, the CPAE, and he built his business in like 8 years to a multi-million-dollar business. And he's also going to be going the afternoon session. We're going to have how to really put together a successful keynote. So leaving a legacy in the morning, putting together a keynote in the afternoon. June 10th. It's a morning session up till about 2:30 in the afternoon.
You'll send emails out on it, I'm sure, right?
Yep. The emails are probably already going out, and it's on the website already.
Great. Thanks, Charles, for hosting again.
Thank you all, guys and girls. I really appreciate you getting on the line and all the input and interaction that we're having.
Thank you very much, Charles. It was great.
And Kush can't wait to hear how many people you reach tomorrow. Right? Tell everybody right now. Commit right now to us. Right now on the hot seat.
By the time we get to you guys next time, I would have reached out to 20 people.
No, wait. Hold on. No. I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting that. And Kush, how long are you going to spend tomorrow calling associations? How much time are you going to put in on it?
I'm not spending any time tomorrow. My tomorrow is totally booked.
When are you going to do it? When's the first day you're going to do it?
Monday.
No. Today is Tuesday. No way. Thursday. Don't tell me you can't make a phone call by Thursday. I'm giving you tomorrow totally booked. Look right now at your schedule, right now. I know you have it on your phone right now. Look.
No, I know what exactly I have to do this week.
All right, so what about Thursday? What are you doing Thursday?
Lawrence, you have to compromise. Meet him halfway. He's willing to do it, but he just needs a few days.
No, he does not. No, he has to. I'm pushing him in the pool. What are you doing on Thursday from 9 to 10? 9 to 10 in the morning. What are you doing on Thursday?
No,
Don't tell me you have anything on your schedule right now from 9 to 10.
I will tell you right away. I'm meeting somebody.
What? What are you doing? How long? How long are you meeting for?
It's from 9 to 10. I'm meeting somebody.
I don't know. From 10 to 11.
No.
You pick a note. No, Ankush, you're not getting off this phone call. No. You pick a time Thursday. I want an hour on your schedule Thursday. Look at your phone again. Look at your phone right now.
All right. This week, I will put 1 hour into building a 20 people's database, which I
No. 1 hour on your phone on Thursday. Let's go right now. I'm not hanging up. Charles, I forbid you to disconnect us. Right now, 1 hour on your phone for Thursday.
Okay.
Give us a time.
Okay. I'm going to start at 8 and end at 9 on Thursday.
No, that's too early. Nobody's not going to be there on the association.
Oh, I have to first spend some time finding out who to reach out to.
All right. So from 8, all right, I'll give you that. From 8 to 9 on Thursday. Are you promising all of us right now? I want to hear it.
Yeah, I promise. On Thursday morning, 8 to 9,
you will find at least 10 associations to call.
I will find 20 associations in
that. No, at least 10. At least 10.
Okay. All right.
Are you now? When will you call them?
I will call them or email them next week.
No. You're not emailing them. You're calling them, and you're calling them on Friday.
All right. I think Tuesday is a very good day to call people. Friday is a bad day.
No, any day is a good. No, that's all bullshit. I'm sorry. There's no better day. That's all bullshit. That's just caller reluctance right now.
Okay.
If you get those 10 names on Thursday, you can call them Thursday afternoon. You don't have to wait. Why wouldn't you want to do it? You got 10 people to call.
There are other things scheduled that I need to finish. That's why.
I'm not Joy, don't help me out here, Joy.
I mean, all I have is a story. That's okay. Cell phones initially were made to enhance communication, and then they added cameras and texting, and then they became sort of counterproductive. If what's clouding out your schedule, like what's filling your schedule, is all those little extras that you need to
No, this is the only thing which is on my schedule. I have to prepare an online program that has to get done. It's been taking too long. I need to finish it.
Wait. Honestly, what do you have Thursday at 3:00? Right now, what do you have Thursday at 3:00?
Thursday, 3:00. I'm working on this online program. I need.
Okay, so you can't make a half an hour worth of phone call Thursday at 3:00. Come on.
I can do it.
Tell me you can't do that.
Okay.
Are you promising you're going to do it?
Right. On Friday.
No, on Thursday at 3:00.
Already, I'm spending an hour.
No, you're spending an hour from 8. You can spend an hour from 8 to 9.
Yeah.
To find the associations, and I got to tell you, I think it'll only take you about 20 minutes.
Okay.
And I'm giving you an hour, but it's going to take you 20 minutes, Ankush.
Okay.
I could do it right now in Google and get associations in 5 minutes.
Okay.
I'm giving you an hour because I know the first 30 minutes you're going to debate whether to do it. But I'm giving you the hour. But on Thursday at 3:00, you can spend a half an hour making phone calls. Don't tell me you can't.
All right.
Do you want to do this or not? Do you want to be speaking or not?
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Lawrence? Let's ease him into it.
No, he's going to do it. There's no easing a person into the pool. He said, did I get a confirmation you're going to do it?
Yes, Lawrence.
Okay.
I will do it before the end of the week.
No, Thursday at 3:00.
10 associations.
No, Thursday at 3:00. Thursday at 3:00.
All right.
30 minutes.
You're spending at least 30 minutes.
3 to
10
3:30
associations.
p.m. associations call. Okay.
And
done.
you're going to find them out in the morning from 8 to 9.
Yep.
And you're going to make the phone calls at 3:00 on Thursday. And if you don't, Ankush, what you're going to do is Friday, you're going to send us an email and let us know how it went.
I will.
You promise?
Yes, I do.
All right. So Friday we get an email how many phone calls you made.
All right. I'll do that.
All right, so just real quick, 2 quick revelations before I let you go. Ankush, I think that Lawrence definitely got to the root core is your reluctance to actually start making calls that are actually going to connect you. I think Lawrence got to that root core. So I think that's something, the more you do, the more comfortable you're going to be with. The other thing is I think we discovered that maybe Lawrence needs to be a motivational coach or something.
I'm thinking the same thing.
To keep people accountable, accountability coach, maybe, Lawrence.
I might have that in me. Yes. As long as I don't have to be held accountable myself, I'm all for it.
Ankush, I like your background. Very nice. The screen and the logo and name.
Thank you very much.
I know you're all set up. I mean, look at you. You're all set up, ready to go. You could be doing webinars.
Do you know what I'm doing here? This is my second office where I do webinars, where I do online training programs and all the video recording.
All right, good. Now we're going to get you out of your beautiful office and onto a podium. You've got to get out there. I mean, it's either now or never. Life is too short. You're going in the pool. I'm sorry. You're getting wet. It's going to be ugly. You're going to feel stupid, but you're going to do that, and then eventually you're not going to feel that way. And then you're going to look back and say, you know what? It's ridiculous. I should have been doing this for 3 months. That's what's going to happen.
Ankush, are you mad at me for making sure Lawrence came on the line tonight?
Actually, I like it. I like it.
No, I'm teasing. Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
All right, guys and girls, thank you very much. And
All
have a great night. And we'll look forward to hearing from you, Ankush, on Friday.
Yeah, we're getting an email.
Yes, you are.
All right, good.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.